£4 million in free bet giveaways and huge price boosts. Kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub. Following a really disappointing Friday evening in the end at Elland Road, where it's finished 3-1 to Leeds United, scoring all 3 goals very late in the game. David Nugent and Matt Elliott join me, Dan Bates, in the studio as we look to assess that 90 minutes. And Jerry Taggart is still at Elland Road. We'll maybe wait to go to him for a little bit while some of those celebrations die down a little bit up in West Yorkshire. Still a big points gap at the top of the league. Disappointing evening though. In the end,
yeah, I'm baffled. We haven't come away with something here. It's just 1-0 up second half. I thought we were cruising in the second half, created a lot of chances. Just couldn't put them away. Obviously, the goal that got disallowed, which comes off the Leeds defender, should have counted to 2-0. They had the Mavididi chance going through 1-on-1. Puts a shot wide. Daka running onto the ball on his right foot, puts it wide. Could have been 3 or 4-0 up and come away 3-1 defeat. I can't believe it. I'm astonished, really, but that's football for you.
Yeah,
that is football.
And conversely, I think Leeds are thinking, how the hell did we win that game? Or certainly by the 2-goal majority as they did. But it's strange though, football, isn't it? You never quite know. And said before the game, no one knows how it's going to pan out. It'll be a good contest, which it was. But the manner of it is galling, isn't it, really? Because it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Leicester should have got something out of that game for the reasons that they've just said. And also, you look at it, I always felt that 1 goal wouldn't be enough. But if Leicester had the capability, as they showed, to go and get the second. Should have done that. And then I was thinking, OK, Leicester going to come under a bit of pressure. I think Maresca foresaw that, or that's the way he predicted it would happen, which is why he's made the substitutions, or certainly McAteer coming on instead of Mavididi, I would say. But even that never really materialised, did it? It wasn't a full old onslaught from Leeds. They hadn't turned in the last stages of the game. It just came about all a bit too meekly, didn't it? And then the second goes in, and you can almost see that happen. Unfortunate with the deflections, but Leicester let things slip. I wouldn't say they threw it away, but they let things slip too easily.
Jerry Taggart, you're up there at Elland Road. Obviously, watch that in front of you. You can still hear the mood, obviously, in the celebrations up there, and that's obviously going to be really difficult to take for everyone from a Leicester persuasion.
I'm the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time right now.
Oh, Jerry.
I'm with the lads. The best team lost. I also agree with Mark that once the first goal goes in, you need to see a reaction. And I think for the second goal, Leicester fell asleep on Leeds' right-hand side. Oh yes, it's a double deflection a la Ipswich. But, you know, I'm almost speechless, Dan, because, you know, as Nuge just said, Leicester were cruising. But it just shows you what can happen in football. Leeds showed why they're unbeaten at home this season. And the longer the game goes on, 1-0 or 0-0 in a game, and with the substitution they made, you're expecting them to have a positive influence, and they did. But if the game's 2-0 or 3-0, it doesn't matter what Dan James or Patrick Bamford does. And that just shows you that if you don't take your chances in this game, then what happened tonight can happen against a team like Leeds at home. And that's the unfortunate thing. Leicester just did not take the chances that they worked so hard for. I mean, they weren't gifted these chances. They had to work their socks off. But there was at least 3 very, very good chances indeed that Leicester didn't take.
Jerry, Matt again. I just
it's the last person I want to hear.
and I've been forced into it some, but no, just looking at the game there, I mean, you sort of touched on it. And without, you don't want to be too negative at the moment, because obviously, it's difficult to take that result, especially all things considered and the performance. But going forward, Leicester have a lot to address, maybe, or something to address. But were you slightly disappointed at the lack of reaction, or the way it felt when the first goal and then the second goes in? To us watching from afar, it didn't look like Leicester had the resolve in them tonight to get back in the game. Yeah,
that's what I'm disappointed at. When you're cruising a game and the opposition scoring, and let's face it, it's a bit of a shot goal, or then you need to see a reaction. Because you're the best team on the pitch. You're the best team on the night up until that point.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, hold on a minute. How's this happened? Right. We need to dig deep. We need to bed in. We need to sort this out. We can't let this happen again. And that's the bit that, that frustrates me, that, shall we say.
I suppose Leicester really, if you put a positive spin on it, you can take consolation from how well they did perform. For what we're talking, the best part of 70 minutes. Yeah.
I mean,
70 minutes plus,
obviously, being here live, it's a bit different than watching it on the telly. And obviously, you're fully invested in it, and you're kicking every ball, you're heading every ball. And I mean, Dewsbury Hall tonight was sensational. And some of the balls he played and players have put through and everything else, I mean, like you say, you don't want to be too critical, because Leicester will take the positive that they were cruising, like you say. The chances they created, they were the better team on the night. Leeds had a 15-minute spell, whatever it was, 20-minute spell, whatever, I don't know, where they won the game. But, Leeds will walk off the pitch and go, bloody hell, they're a good side, that Leicester.
Yeah.
And how we weren't 3-0 down before we scored, I'll never know. And that's, I suppose, as a player, as an ex-player, that's the hardest bit to take, is and I know that, I'm not saying it hasn't happened to me in my career, of course it has, but when you top the league, you're the best team in this game, and you sort of, like you said, they didn't give up, but they didn't show that reaction that you want to see. And I don't know why that was.
I suppose, Jerry, sorry, last point.
No.
But rather than getting an absolute shoe-in, I don't conceded 3 late goals, but overall, I think general consensus, most people will agree with you, in terms of Leicester being the better side on the night. Exactly that point, Leeds will come away thinking, we've done well to win that one.
Yeah.
They're a good side, Leicester City. Leicester City have got to take that consolation out of that and put it into their next performance.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, they're 6 points ahead. They go into the next run of games and say, listen, we are the best team in the league, and go and prove it.
Well, I was going to say, it's not the next game, it's the next 12 games. They need to go and boss and play like that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they're just showing the rerun of the goals here on replays. And, the first goal, I mean, it could be dealt with better. But, it's just one of them things where Leeds haven't, manufactured or formed a scintillating move. It was a case of non-clearances and dangling legs out. The second goal, 2 deflections. Can they get a little bit closer to Gray when he takes the shot? Absolutely. And the third one's a complete fluke. Dan James goes for the far corner. It's going 5 yards wide. So you can forget about that goal. You can forget about the third goal, really, because that's just as lucky as they come. That he's going for goal there, and that's going 5 yards wide until Patrick Bamford's knee gets in the way. But I suppose it's the second goal. Well, the first and the second goal, are goals that can be, taken care of quite easily.
Yeah. Well, we're not disagreeing, Jerry. I think everyone's in the same mood. Clearly, you are as well. It's almost bit of disbelief that we're actually sat here and we're talking like this, because of what's happened, because of the chances Leicester had, because of the goal. They had a perfectly legitimate goal chalked off as well. Replays clearly showing Hamza Chowdhury was nowhere near the ball, actually. He didn't touch it. It was chested down by Rutter when Daka put it in. That could and should have been 2-0. Obviously, had VAR been in action, they overturned that offside decision as well. And then there's the missed chances. There's a lot to dissect, which is difficult to do on an evening like that.
Yeah, but performance-wise, 80 minutes, Leicester were a different class. Just once they conceded, it's just that, you know, when you do concede a goal, you need to like be solid for the next 5-10 minutes in it. Just, you know, when they equalise, just shut shop for 5 minutes, just try and get back into the game, because Leeds and the fans were just gonna, you know, roar them forward towards the goal again. That happened that way. I know it was a bit of luck with the deflections for the second goal and third goal, but I think Yannick's, he dangles a leg, doesn't he, up for the first goal, and just like doesn't really need to, and it just falls perfect for Connor Roberts to finish it off, and just all downhill from there. There's late goals again. We talked about it earlier, like the games that Leicester have lost or haven't got maximum points from. All the goals I'm thinking, Ipswich game, late goals conceded. This game, late goals conceded. You know, Ipswich home, late goals conceded. Sheffield Wednesday, late goals conceded. It's just, if you don't win a game, the goals are always from 80 minutes to 90 minutes where they concede. You just need to, you know, if the one, I know this game it should have been 3-0 up. Game should have been done and dusted with the chance to be creative, but if you don't take them chances, you know, you can get punished.
Yeah, and I think in memory, certainly tonight as well, but in previous games, maybe something to look at, you know, is when they concede or it's late on in games and they're dealing with a bit of pressure, but they sometimes lose their ability to play on the counter a little bit, because, you know, they're very adept at that, and they were good tonight at it on occasions and quite regularly. But once they do start dropping, they don't do too much conviction without being too harsh, but then they don't look like they're going to break forward. They stop, their goal threat stops pretty much, and then it's a matter of will they concede or not. They don't really look like they're going to dig themselves out of a situation. I don't know, maybe they would contest that.
I think it's when you can see the goals instinctive, everyone just drops 5 yards, don't
yeah,
they? It's weird. It happens all the time.
Teams,
it happens to the best of the teams. And obviously
but
Leicester just trying to sit in then, trying to protect the draw maybe, rather than playing in the same way and trying to hit Leeds again, because Leeds are going to push even forward to try and get the winner then.
I think maybe a sort of bit of it comes from frustration, you know, when you're watching it as an observer, because you know what Leicester are capable of at times. You know, quite conceivably 3-0 up, and good for it as well. There wouldn't have been too much moaning in the Leeds crowd even if Leicester went 3-0 up tonight. People would have said, do you know what, hands up to them, you know, fair play to them, been a good side. But it didn't happen, and then that frustration is compounded, isn't it, by stopping this, because it's a soft goal. It's a soft goal, the first goal. Vestergaard was exemplary first half. I think, not picking out individuals, but I think he'll look at that in two departments, really, in terms of Rutter just skipped past him too easily. He let him get away, and then when the ball got played in, it just plopped off him, didn't it? And it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. Speaking
of Vestergaard, speaking of the offside goal, Jerry, I forgive you if you said it, but I'm not sure you did. But he hit the bar with that header, or hit the post. What an unbelievable effort that was. Would have been a cracking header, wouldn't it? But just that's another one to add, that they were that close anyway to scoring.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, it's a great effort from Vestergaard, because he's moving backwards when he heads it, and it's so difficult. Well, it was difficult because he didn't score. It did hit the bar. It didn't go in the net. But when you're running backwards, to generate that power and accuracy, you know, so you've got to get absolutely spot on. And it looked, for all the money in the world, it was going in the top corner, and then it bangs the bar. And then obviously what happens after. You know, if you ask the majority of fans, they prefer it without VAR. So you can't have any complaints about, you know, the goal not being given. The assistant referee on this side seen it as he's seen it, and he got it wrong, but at least he gave a decision, and there was no waiting around and grumbling and moaning from the stands about VAR and why it taking so long and all the rest of it. And that's what happens in football. The officials sometimes get it wrong. It's just that I think that's 2 games running now. The officials have got a big decision wrong.
Earlier in the season, Leicester obviously did lose those games to Middlesbrough and to Leeds. We've seen that again now in the course of a week. They reacted incredibly well first time round in the season. When that did happen, went on a fantastic run. I think there was just the Sheffield Wednesday draw in between, and then about 6 wins in a row. Another win before that as well. They've got to look to do that again, haven't they? Simple as that.
Exactly. Yeah, they need a run. Obviously, you got the cup game midweek, which gives them a respite from the championship schedule. But you know, they have to get back on track. You know, when the weekend QPR at home. You know, when the weekend comes along again, and you know they want to. You know, they'll be chomping at the bit. You know, this was a good performance by Leicester. I know they got beat 3-1, but we've seen another chance with Mavididi there, aren't we? One another add to the collection of the chances he should have scored. But again, yeah, they got the respite. Back on a Saturday against QPR at home in front of the crowd, getting back on track and trying to get the 3 points towards the goal.
For more reaction to this game, of course, we will be back on Monday evening for Extra Time. That is among many other things coming your way on Fox's Hub over the coming week or so. Yes, we've got Extra Time then. That's from 6 p.m. to assess this defeat. I think it might even take us until Monday night to sort of figure out how it's happened this evening. Matchday Live will then return for that FA Cup game away at Bournemouth. It is a 7:30 kickoff down on the south coast. We will be live from 6:30 for that one. Then we return to Championship action a week tomorrow. A huge game now. They pretty much are all big now. That is a 3 o'clock kickoff, of course. So we'll be live from 2, and there is a podcast available for you. Sol Bamba in conversation with Matt and myself about his Leicester career and his overall career. It really is a fantastic watch/listen. That you can get that on Fox's Hub or listen wherever you get your podcasts. Big thank you though to Jerry Taggart for travelling up to Leeds this evening. Thanks to Dave and to Matt for their company here on the studio. Overall, what's been a disappointing evening for the Foxes. Thanks for watching. Try and have a nice rest of your weekend. Goodbye.